What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about 10 British things that America really needs. So, here in the United States, I think we have a big problem, and that is a lot of Americans think that everything is just perfect the way it is, and that America is just the greatest at everything. And I actually think there's a lot of things that we could do better. And frankly, a lot of things that we could learn from other countries, like the UK. So today, I want to take a look at this video. This is by Simple Scottish Living with Zach and Annie, and they are Americans who are actually living in the UK, and they've created this list of 10 British things that America really, really needs right now. So I'm really curious to learn about this. So let's take a look.
The first thing is legislation around food and safety.
Yes. So we've done a
Oh.
couple of grocery comparison videos, and one of the things that people have mentioned and that we've noticed is the difference in quality of food between the two countries.
Oh, wow. Interesting, because we do, like here in the United States, we do have regulations around food and safety that does exist. But I've never really like compared that directly with another country like the UK. How is it different in the UK?
And a lot of that has to do with the governing bodies in both countries.
The biggest difference between what we've noticed with the US and the UK is that there are certain ingredients that are just absolutely banned and not allowed in the UK foods.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have heard of this before. That especially here in the United States, we have a lot of apparently crazy chemicals and preservatives and food dyes and certainly like an abundance of sugar and all that and unnatural things in our food. And the reason that can happen here is because it is legal, it is allowed by our Food and Drug Administration. Our food and safety laws and policies allow it, but in the UK, if there's literally a bunch of stuff that you guys don't allow yourselves to even eat, if there's all these things that you guys don't even allow into your body, like for your own health, I just did a video like the other day about where I learned people in the UK are living a lot longer than people in the United States. And we wonder why. Like America, it sounds like America is one of the only places we allow so much crazy stuff in our food, which is a really big failure, not only on our own like self-governance and how we decide our own policies, but it's kind of a fail on Americans who don't. This is not really something Americans talk about or care about, which is a big problem. But yes, okay, this is definitely something British that America needs to pay way more attention to.
On to number 2, which Annie is exemplifying today
Yes.
in this video, and that is
Tea culture.
something I can't really speak to. I see it, I know it exists, I just don't partake. So Annie, over to you.
Tea culture. This is an interest. Okay, this is a little more lighthearted because it's like the first British thing is literally about life and death and health, and this is like a very, very British thing, but it's tea. Is tea life or death? I don't know. Maybe it is to British people, but this is just something Americans like. We don't even think about this because I wouldn't even know what I'm missing out on Like this truly demands that you have to be an American who literally travels and lives in the UK to get any appreciation of like tea culture, you know? I don't really know what we're missing here.
Well, in the US, I mean, people drink tea, they drink coffee, we use it as a time to gather, but not like the UK does.
Okay.
Tea is served all day long. No matter what, if there's people around, tea is an option.
Yeah.
And
Interesting. Because I was going to relate this to coffee in the United States. I think that's the closest thing we have is coffee. People drink it all the time. It's not necessarily drank all throughout the day. It is more of a morning thing. So that's different. And it's not like, I feel like tea, like all Americans associate tea with the UK. I don't know if people don't associate coffee with America, do they? Like a lot of countries drink coffee. But then again, a lot of countries drink tea, right? But tea is such a British thing, and it has some kind of romantic, like, I don't even know, some kind of quality to it, where it's like, seems like a very pleasant, fun thing. Whereas in America, coffee is just about making you wake up. There's nothing romantic or like there's nothing that great about it. Like where people love their morning coffee, but at the end of the day, it's for a very functional purpose. It's for caffeine to wake you up because we're all zombies. Whereas tea seems to be more for like this calm, I don't know, I assume calm, relaxing experience kind of throughout the day.
And it's something that you drink when you're sad, you drink when you're happy. It always just makes the mood better.
Okay.
So number 3, we're still kind of talking about food, but more just into the service industry, and that is the tipping culture.
I actually really want to hear more about this. Because tipping in the United States is crazy. And again, it's something I didn't even realize was crazy until I started trying to learn about other countries and what other countries do. And apparently, tipping, like how Americans tip, is not normal behavior.
I moved over to the US and I stood firm on resisting tipping as much as possible. First of all, I just didn't agree with it in terms of this person is doing the job they're paid to do and they're just doing it normally, not exceptionally, so I didn't see why. I did later.
That's true because in the United States, whether they do a good job or a bad job, you're supposed to leave a tip, like 15% minimum sort of thing. That's typical for any service industry. And you're basically conditioned from a young age to feel really, really bad if you don't leave a tip. So there's Americans who try to resist. A lot of us who think, oh, this is stupid. Like, why is this? But for the most part, we all cave in and just do it because we feel bad if we don't.
To understand or realize that in some of the professions in the US, tips are so expected that it's actually built into their taxes. So
Yes, absolutely. That's another thing. Like waiters, servers at restaurants literally need tips to make a livable wage. And we all know that. So it's this weird, like, emotional blackmail where we feel like we have to tip so other Americans who are working service jobs can survive.
it's expected that a waitress is going to make X amount more money from tips, and so she's sort of pre-taxed on that amount. So if you don't pay her, she's getting taxed more than she makes.
And there's the wages for certain industries are quite low. Bartenders, waitresses. So yes, tipping makes a big difference to their ability to live. But things have gotten out of control in the US, and I don't feel that we should be paying their wages with 25% tips.
25, I've never tipped 25%. there's some Americans who maybe do. If in America, it's literally like tipping is so ingrained in the culture that you're supposed to like judge waiters, servers' performance, essentially. Judge how they do at refilling your drinks and bringing your food and being attentive and nice. And you're supposed to judge them and give them a tip, an amount based on their performance. It's all very strange when you think about it. But what is it like in the UK is my question.
Over in Scotland, at least, it's not the norm. If you go to a restaurant, this was hard for Annie to comprehend, and she thought it was just being really rude, but it's not normal to leave a tip.
Wow.
I would say if someone does an exceptional job or goes above and beyond, yeah, by all means, that's fantastic. Reward them for doing going the extra mile. But no, you get the bill at the end of the day, that's it, walk out without any shame or...
Wow. I mean, it's so crazy because I would feel like she does. She's American and she has like a visceral reaction to not tipping where it makes you a little sick. It makes you feel like you're committing a crime or something. But I could get used to it. That's the way it should be, honestly. What he just described in Scotland, like you don't tip as a baseline. And if they do an excellent, amazing service, then they get a tip as a special bonus. But it's not the standard. It's not like what you start at. Like in America, you start with a 15% tip and work up from there, even if you hate the place and the server is terrible to you. So I actually really wish we were more like the UK in this regard.
The next one is also about the shopping experience. And in the US, if you go into almost any shop, especially like a clothes shop though, you're first going to get greeted by someone and then they're going to try and somewhat be your personal shopper and tell you about the sales and if you need any help over here, and they'll check in on you. And in Scotland, you will be lucky if you get a hello.
That's correct.
Which is...
What? Really? This is so funny because you really need to hear these outside perspectives. To us Americans really need to hear this to understand. I didn't even know this was strange. Here in the United States, it is totally normal, exactly what he said. You go into a store, somebody will walk up to you, say, "Hello, how are you doing? Do you need any help?" And it's friendly, although it's very fake. It's very fake friendliness, but it's meant to be friendly and helpful, and it can be a bit irritating. I get annoyed. I don't want people to I don't want to go shopping and have someone bug me but that's their job. In America, that is part of the job and it's expected. I didn't know that in other countries, in the UK, in Scotland, like he says, people just don't even... So do they just keep to themselves until you go to them? I actually, personally, would like that. I wouldn't mind that.
It's also fine with us, especially from a man's perspective. I'm usually going to shop to pick out the one thing I know I'm going to buy, so I don't need help and guidance and dressing and entertaining.
Yeah, it can be really actually over the top in some American stores where it's actually annoying, and you feel a little bad having to tell them no, I'm good. I don't need your help, but. I don't know. This isn't a huge one. Most Americans just think this is nice that people in shops talk to you and want to help. Maybe it goes too far, but of all the things in the list, British things America needs, this is lower on the list. But personally, I would like us to be more British with this, but it's not the biggest thing.
Maternity and paternity leave is just done so much better over here. I know it's a much smaller country, so it's more feasible, but I feel the US is very lacking in this area.
I've heard about this before. I've heard about this. A lot of Americans don't know about this. A lot don't. I've heard about this. It's insane. like more Americans need to be aware of this one, and that is maternity leave. Here in the United States, you're lucky to get 2 months off, 3 months off if you're the mother giving birth. That is totally like that would be good. And for most Americans, we think, "Oh, that's normal. That's how it is. Okay, yeah." No. No. Apparently, in a lot of other countries around the world, maternity leave, women get off work much, much, much longer. And like a lot of Americans, I had no idea.
And
This is not a caveat to a big announcement, just so you know. We were talking to some of our friends who had just done it, and they were like, "Are you trying to tell us something?" Absolutely not.
definitely not. We're
But
done.
we
Three's
have
good.
we have experienced maternity paternity cover in the US. We have good friends that have had it in the UK, so we
Okay.
definitely wanted to mention it. Sorry, on you go.
Oh, that's fine. So there's some really great things about the maternity paternity leave here. Off the bat, if you're working, you qualify for 52 weeks of maternity leave.
52 weeks? Like a year? A year? I can't even, like, it's so far away. It's so far off from what America is doing. Like, and it makes all the sense in the world because if you've had kids, you know, a 3-month-old baby requires full-time attention. And yet that's when most American mothers have to go back to work. This is actually like a very huge deal. This is like a huge deal that I think most Americans don't even realize should be a bigger deal, if that makes sense. Most Americans just don't even complain about this. We don't even talk about this because most Americans don't even know 3 months is outrageous.
But the pay, you don't get paid the entire time. You can qualify for 39 weeks of pay, with the first 6 weeks being 90% of your pay. And then after that, it's a much lower reduced rate. But I believe that depending on where you work, they can supplement that income.
I mean, that's still incredible. You guys are a lot of women, if they take off from work for 3 months, their work will really discourage it, for one thing. You might have to use your vacation time or sick leave to supplement it, and you're probably not getting paid. Like, this one is huge to me.
There just seems to be more of a good work-life balance here in the UK, whereas in the US, it's all right. You got 2 weeks of holiday, a little bit of time for maternity leave, and greet everybody at the door within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
This one's going to be a hot take, and it is slightly humor and just taking less offense in general. So the U.S. has become quite polarized, as you can see
Really? I don't know.
from recent elections. And
Yes.
with that, things are very tense and people are sensitive about things that are near and dear to their heart, rightfully so. And I appreciate that, but I also don't really appreciate cancel culture.
Okay, I was wondering where they're going with this, because there's so many things you could say about this. For one thing, what I thought they were going to say is in America, like the two political parties are so divided. America is so divided at this point with politics. Like, it ruins people's families and friendships, and people can't even have normal discussions anymore, and or people with opposing viewpoints can't even like have normal productive discussion. It's just become such a cesspool of hatred and vitriol and trying to one up the other person. And anyway, I thought that's what they were going to talk about, how incredibly divided America has become politically. But they're talking about cancel culture, which is, honestly, I don't know when this video was made, but I think everyone thinks cancel culture is like pretty stupid. Like, people say and do stupid stuff, and like that's life. And like should their whole life and career be ruined forever? Sometimes, yes, but certainly in America it was getting taken too far, but I think we've gotten a bit better recently.
And I feel we've come as a society to a point where anyone can get canceled at any moment for anything, problematic or not, just if someone doesn't like you enough. They can.
Yeah, I mean that's true. That is true. This was a huge problem like a year or two ago, where you hear about this all the time. And again, it seemed like politically motivated, but I think this has gotten a little better in America.
All right, number 7, another one we've spoken about already, is just the walking culture here. We tried our best in the US to walk as much as we could.
Oh, the walking culture. Ha! I've never even heard that phrase before. Because in the United States, people don't walk. There is no walking culture.
It's a bizarre one because the weather is more on your side there, but there's just fewer opportunities to walk in your everyday life.
Yes.
I mean, the last place we lived, we could only walk our boys to school, which is just down the road, or walk around our little subdivision. Anything beyond that, you had to drive.
Yes.
Wow, this is such a great one. Talk about British things America needs. These have all been very, very good. These are like things that I love this because it's things that Americans just don't even think about that we really need. Like, America is built for driving a car. And that's just the way it is. And if you own a car, it gives you a lot of like autonomy and it lets you get places quickly and there's freedom in that. But we have just left walking, like honest to God, walking to places is just, it's been left in the history books. It is like, unless you live in a major city in America, like New York City or something, then in those places you can walk, sure. But in most American towns and cities and neighborhoods, and you need a car. And it is something most Americans like me, growing up that way, you don't even think about anymore. I don't even think about the concept of walking somewhere in my day-to-day life, ever. Which is pretty bad, actually, when I think about it.
Which,
Yep, exactly, because
yeah.
it was miles. And a single mile is fine to walk, but when you have multiple children, going over a single mile just to do a daily chore it can be a little bit of a trek.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
walk-
Yeah, I don't know what we can even do to fix this because we put things so far away from each other. America is a big country, so maybe that has to do with it. Everything is so far away. You can't walk anywhere. It would take you forever. And we haven't done a good job at even creating the proper pavement and sidewalks and the pathways for people to even do it safely. So this is a really good observation, actually.
This is one thing that I love and brings me so much joy, and it's the care that people take in community spaces in the UK. And especially in our area of Scotland, I'm shocked by how well the town centers and
Oh, okay.
communal spaces of neighborhoods, they just all are so beautiful and well looked after.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Well, I don't even know what to say. In America, we've definitely lost a bit of sense of community. But it kind of depends on where you live. If you live in a smaller area, small town in America, I think you find people behave themselves better and pick up the trash and do community service. If you live in a big area of America, there's typically more crime and typically like less of a sense of community and accountability. And I think that's basically what explains it in America.
this point has made our lives exponentially better on a day-to-day basis.
And we mentioned it a few times, but
Yes.
it's worth mentioning again.
And just having the most basic school uniforms for elementary, well, all grade levels actually, is the best idea ever. It takes out so
Wow. This is interesting. I never thought I'd hear a fellow American with this opinion. Because I know in the UK, you guys do school uniforms, like in Harry Potter and British stuff that I've seen. You guys have strict school uniforms. And I think a lot of Americans take a lot of pride, are very proud that we get to express ourselves and wear whatever we want, and it's very individualistic. And so I'm interested to hear why she thinks America should have uniforms.
many different aspects of the day as far as logistics, trying to have clothes ready and trying to fit certain trends. There's just none of that.
No.
It's so nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up wearing a school uniform every day. Annie did not. And the stories she would tell of like trying to make sure you're wearing this, that, and the other, or how's this going to look, or this, that. I remember we'd have a few times a year, like wear your own clothes day for charity. Essentially, you bring in a couple
Okay.
pounds and you could wear your own clothes. And it was horrible. I was like, gotta make impression, gotta wear this, gotta wear that. Oh, like
That's so funny hearing it from his point of view. Because it sounds like he is Scottish and he has the experience of wearing uniforms, and dressing himself in his own clothing was like stressful. I don't know. I think most American kids enjoy it. We're used to it. It's not this big stressful event, I promise you. Unless you're like very, very concerned with your image and making an impression. I'm sure some American kids get stress from this, but I think for the most part, this is not really an issue. But I don't know. I've never tried, like, I've never experienced the school uniform culture. Maybe it's just really, maybe it's freeing in a different way. Because we think wearing whatever you want is really freeing. But maybe not having to worry about what you wear is more freeing, not even having to think about it. So I get it. That's a really interesting one.
So the last one, it's just a small point. We're just going to touch on it briefly. Is gun control.
Oh my, oh God. I I should have anticipated this one. But again, guns are so common in the United States, I don't even think about it as being weird. Gun control. So famously in America, it is very, very easy to purchase a gun and get a gun. It's very easy. What is it like in the UK?
Obviously a huge thing in the US, and obviously we love over here because there is such strict gun control, and it's just something you don't have to worry about, honestly. There are still gun crimes, but not to the extent they are in the US, or gun accidents, unfortunately, there are in the US.
I agree that America has probably taken it a little too far with the right to bear arms and guns. And if you buy a gun in America, like, you should at least have to demonstrate that you are competent, that you are worthy, that you should have the responsibility, honestly, to own a gun. That's a huge responsibility. And the idea that anybody in America, basically, without a criminal record, can just go get a gun in like one day with no effort is scary. Like, we could implement the simplest things even. Like, you have to take a gun safety course and pass a test. Like, even that would make me feel better. But, yeah, I do think this is a British thing that America should at least think about implementing some of those ideas for guns. Because, let's face facts, we do have a lot of gun crime and gun death and high murder rates with guns. As a result, it's irrefutable. That is the result of our gun policies being so open. So that's a good one. That talk about something Americans don't talk about at all, really, and we should. all this stuff is really things that Americans should talk about more. Like, so I thought this was great and eye-opening, and so many things that Americans should be thinking about that could improve American life. But a lot of Americans don't even bother, which is sad. But I'm glad I took a look at this today. I got a lot out of this. So anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on British things that America really needs. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to British culture and learning about British things for the first time, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.